My client Samuel asked me a question. Sub Martin, yesterday I was talking to my good friend and we were arguing on one thing. What is the best way to talk to a new person you just met? And you want to have a good conversation with him so that both of you enjoy it and learn some new things from each other. I want to hear your opinion on this. Thanks, Sam. Thank you, Sam, for giving me this awesome and amazing question. If you want to join Sam, you can also click the first link in the description and join my coaching program and the whole community right here. But nonetheless, let's get straight to the value. How do you have a conversation that lasts even for 8 hours? Let me exactly show you how. One day I was in my city and I met with, guess who? My best friend. And he wanted to make a connection with another guy I didn't know. And he introduced me. I said, my name is Martin, blah, blah, blah. But after meeting this guy and using this simple method that I'm about to teach you, you will be able to learn how to structure conversations for even 8 hours. And the reason why I'm sharing this story is because when I met this guy, for the first time, we just learned each other's names. I was able to get into a conversation with him for 8 hours. So that's why I will teach you how you can do the same and how to never run out of things to say. First, we need to have two mindsets when it comes to conversations, because most people go into conversations mindlessly. They don't really listen, they don't really care. That's why we need to have these two mindsets. We need to pull on questions that actually interest us. This is a win-win situation. We ask about things that we care about. But on the other hand, the person will like us because we asked about their interest. Second thing, look for common similarities. People go into conversations and they never seem to care about the other person. But if you genuinely are in the conversation to just find similarities between that person and you, that's how connection is built. So whenever you see a connection, you need to immediately call it out and say to the other person, we have this similar with each other. And those are the two mindsets. Pull on the questions that you care about the most. And second thing, look for similarities and the things that you have in common. But how do we do this? Let's say you ask someone, what were you doing throughout the week? Amazing, good question. Not how are you doing, because how are you doing, people will just say fine. And that's the end of the conversation. That's why if you say, what were you doing, that is specific. And now the person will genuinely tell you what were they doing. No, how are they feeling? That's why there's a little tip from me. But nonetheless, now, let's move to the framework. Yes, maybe all of these arrows will look confusing, but I will explain just in a second. We will ask the person, what were you doing throughout the weekend? And the person will say, I went into the gym and I worked on my business. Now, this sentence is extremely important because this sentence has two threads that you can hook onto. You need to think of yourself as a puppet master controlling the conversation as you go into it. For example, if I want to pull on the thread of gym and I want to talk about the gym, I will ask about the gym and I will say, in what gym are you going into? Because now I can see if we are going into the same gym. See, I'm trying to find similarities to build rapport and connection extremely quickly. And then they will say, oh, I go into the one on the Oxford Street. And I say, let's go, I go there too. And I dab the guy. This is very important. When you find similarities or other people make a win in their lives, you need to dab them up. You need to tell them how much you appreciate their win or your similarities with them. That's why whenever this happens, dab them up and tell them how much you appreciate the similarities you guys have with each other. Then the conversation will continue and they will ask something like, amazing, what kind of exercises are you doing? And now you broken the ice and you have skipped all of the stupid small talk and you have got them interested in you. That is a huge win. After some time, you will run out of topics to talk about the gym. So eventually, the conversation will die. What to do then? Most conversationalists will tell you, ask another question about them. That is not that easy. What you can do is to play with something that happened in the past. So if we go back, all the way back to our original sentence, I went into the gym and I worked on my business. But we already covered the gym thread. What about the business thread? So we can come all the way from here, from the dead conversation that happened on the Jim Fred and come all the way back to their original sentence. And this shows that you are a great listener. This shows that you are not here to just take from them. You are here to genuinely care about them. And if people realize that you are doing this, they will love you so much. I can guarantee you that. So now, let's pull on the business Fred. And it might be like, what kind of business are you doing? When the conversation dies, you can say something like, oh, I remember you were talking about business. What kind of business model are you doing? See, that sounds much more natural than just going from that gym conversation to business. That's why I like to say, I remember you were talking about business. What kind of business model are you doing? Use this framework. Feel free to use it. Feel free to steal it from me. That's why, what kind of business model are you doing? And they will say, I resell clothes. Now, that is a very common knowledge that people who resell clothes hate their life. So you will ask, is it a fun business model for you? And now they will say, nah, it's kind of boring. And you will again go and go and go and go and continue the conversation more and more and more. But what good conversationalists know how to do is that if this conversation now dies, also, this is very important. You know how to jump back, for example, to the fitness again. And then maybe if this conversation again dies, then you can come back to the business again. You know how to talk about things that you are interested in, but also letting the other person talk and not trying to rush in with your answers. And this will make people absolutely love you because first of all, you are staying true to your core values. You're just asking them about things that you are genuinely interested in. But on the other hand, you are letting them talk. You are letting them express themselves and you will not interrupt them whatsoever. Let's come back for a second and let's say you ask them, what are you doing throughout the week? They say, I went into the gym and I worked on my business. This is very important because most people will not hook onto the business thread, nor even the gym thread. They will ask something completely different. And this is a horrible mistake that a lot of people do because it shows that you are not listening. It shows that you are in the conversation to get something from them and it doesn't show that you really care about them. If the other person says, I went into the gym and I worked on my business and you say, what are some of your hobbies? See, literally he said your hobbies right here, but because you are not listening, you'll not catch it. That means you are on a autopilot whenever you ask these stupid questions because it looks like that you are not listening. And it doesn't even look like it because I internally know that you are not listening. That's why hook onto people's threats that they are placing in a conversation. Every single word is a threat that you can use to manipulate the conversation in your favor. You can talk with them about their business. You can talk with them about their fitness. And this tactic, this whole strategy is called conversational threading. So if you want to use this, feel free to steal this entire framework from me. And also, if you want to learn like Samuel and become the most charismatic person in any room that you will ever enter, then you can click the first link in the description. I'll be waiting for you right there. And if you want to know the best tactic to make people literally love you in seconds, then you should click this video right here. Live a happy life, man!